Hello and welcome back to Bump Love. We are back again with Patricia Karugaba, aka Naliongo. She is a certified freedom fertility formula specialist. Yes, and she's been talking to us about her journey. Today we wanted to focus on the wait, because we know that waiting for children can be a very, very frustrating journey. So Patricia, the theme for the National Infertility Awareness Week is focusing on the mental and emotional aspects of this journey. Why do you think that's important?
It's very important. Why? Because fertility starts here. Babies start here. So if this and this is okay, then it improves your chances of having a baby.
Yeah.
So when you're on this journey, I told you before, there's a thing about failure, but on this journey, everything follows a 28-day cycle, a woman's cycle, period cycle. As a standard is 28. I'm blessed, mine is 28 to the dot, but some it will be 27, others it will be 29. It's only when you exceed by 4 days on either end that it's a problem. So let's go by the 28. So you start, day one of your cycle is the day you get your period. The day you get your period is 100% confirmation that you're not pregnant. So it's a sad day, a very sad day when you get your period. So you go through the first 7 days in sadness, despair, it didn't work, it didn't work. Then in the next 7 days, you kind of have hope. Something convinces you, let me try again. Let me try again. So another 7 days where you're getting the beginning of hope. Then you hit ovulation and you're like, can't take kamasu. Today I have him. Totally. You know, Rachel mentioned that it's not the entire month that you can get, and it's not any day in the month that you can get pregnant. It's like 4 days, and actually if you split hairs, it's like one day. And it's like hours. Maybe the temperature wasn't right, he wasn't in the good mood, or there's so much that can make it not work. So it has to be on point. Then after that you're like, okay, maybe I scored. There's hope.
The 2 week wait.
The 2 week wait.
Oh my
There's
gosh.
so much anxiety in that 2 week wait. But even that 2 week wait is split in two. There's the first half of there's hope. Then the last half of the 2 week wait, which is total anxiety. Why? Because all the signs of early pregnancy, the signs of implantation are exactly the same as the signs for a period. So it's like, am I pregnant? Is it coming?
Not? Oh my gosh.
And in all those years that I went through, I learned my body. I would listen to it. I would listen to this stomach and know, no, that one is indigestion. That's beans. No, this one, maybe it is. And because of the experience of having had that miscarriage, I knew during the time that I was pregnant, they were like tickling sensations. So I would even hold my breath and say, am I feeling tickling? Or I'm imagining it. And then as the period approaches, you're like, this one has gone south. And it really does go south. And you start the same cycle of despair. Now remember, you started at a low note of despair. By the time you go through that month, you don't start at this level again. You start lower. Then next month you're lower. And the next month you're lower. If you don't have something in between to pick you up from another part of your life, if you don't have something else to make you happy from another part of your life, and you're only focused on your period and your inability to have a child, you keep going lower, 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 because you start at a lower level, go at a lower level, start at a lower, go at a lower level. And the worst case scenario is you end up in depression. Not this depression of I'm stressed, I'm depressed, but clinical depression. And ladies, you do not want to get to clinical depression because then it is, you need real help. You need a psychiatrist, you need some time at Butabika to get you back to normal life. So that is the beginning of the importance of mental health on this journey. When you're on this journey, imagine all that cycle that you're in. life goes on. You've got
yes.
work, you've got social work, but you're already on the negative. So anything that hits you hard. The next thing is that your interpersonal relationships are damaged or affected. Number one on firing squad is your husband.
For sure.
Because you're in this together. He's the nearest one to you. And
he's a contributor like you to get 50-50.
It's supposed to be 50-50. You want him to feel what you're feeling, but guys do not feel these things. When you've timed for sex, he's doing something else, and you're like,
we are on a clock.
And you see now, like you said, you're on a clock. What happened to spontaneous lovemaking? It's not there anymore. It's not there anymore. When you're doing that lovemaking, you're just saying, let it happen today. Today, let it happen, let it happen. And then you're like, oh, you want to put your legs up.
The positions that important. Is they are trying to turn you
like,
this was the better
position is like this. That's when it reaches.
I don't want to miss. We can't miss. It's no longer fun for you. It's no longer fun for him because now it's a performance and he has to perform. He's under pressure to perform. So it's not good for you anyway. Now, the other part where it becomes a problem with the husband is the in-laws, specifically mother-in-law. Mother-in-law, you get to a point where the man has to choose between mother-in-law and wife. And if you ever have to make your husband choose between his mother and you,
there's something.
It's going to be really bad because I don't think that there's a man who will turn his back away from his mom completely. Even if he does, he'll blame you for the breaking that relationship. And you cannot break your relationship with your mother and not your siblings. So you're sort of destroying family dynamics. Many people who are going through infertility, the major problem they have is the relationship with in-laws. Now, I have to thank God. I really thank God. I was blessed. You know, God cannot give you something you can't manage. So he gave me a wonderful mother-in-law. He gave me wonderful in-laws. In those 10 years of infertility, my inability to have children never came up.
Wow.
It did not come up.
That's nice.
I think my mother-in-law mentioned it to me maybe like once or twice. And I'm the one who brought it up. And she said, bulichunjaga kubuza, muina chemukolako, katuongere okusaba. Just like her son, she was like, katusabe. My husband comes from a very big family and an extended family. I never felt bad in their presence. None of them ever directly made me feel bad about my inability. Now here's the catch. I really wonder, is it possible that they were not talking about me totally?
No, it's not possible.
It's not possible. So listen. I need to have been an idiot not to have known the way the negative sentiments they had to me about me, or they were very clever about hiding it. Now on TV, I'm not going to admit that I'm an idiot. So let's take it that they were very clever. They were very well brought up
They were very
and
sensitive.
very sensitive. They are a spiritual family. It's a Christian family.
Also,
There's a lot
also
of
spiritual
prayer.
families are divorced.
Very-
That they can't, when the dependence is on God, they're like, oh,
can't
wow.
question it.
Yes, they can't
Yeah,
question.
And not to say that when they were talking, they were attacking you behind your back. No, but I'm sure it just came out in casual conversation.
Yeah, like-
anyway, katusabe.
It just never came up. But when I did get pregnant, oh my goodness, they came in like the troops for reinforcement support, telling you my sister-in-law did shopping with me. She's taking me. You have to buy this. She coached me. She was my coach for Nakawereship. So it's not like that they didn't care about what was going on or what. I think in the background they were praying about it, and maybe they were sensitive about it. And I thank them. Let me thank them publicly because they were very
We thank
kind to
them
me.
also. We thank them.
Yes, so for other people, it's not that easy. The other reason why mental health is important is because now relationship with friends, you guys are friends. If I'm your friend and I'm going through an issue, I'm going to be very sensitive. The day you appear on set with your children and you're being so lovey-dovey with them, it can be a trigger for me.
Yes.
I can go into a mood.
Yeah.
Then maybe you want to go for a baby shower. I'm not coming. But I tell you, I have to come. And then I'm not coming for your baby shower. And you're like, no, tajako mukolo gwange. What kind of a friend are you? But I have issues which I cannot tell you. And I also cannot admit them to myself. So I'll tell you, I was busy. Really sorry. I was busy. I just couldn't make it. And then also, the other thing is productivity.
Yeah.
Your productivity takes a nosedive because you're not normal. You're not normal. You're not at 100. So if you are a creative person, you're not creative. And if you are, your creativity will have telltale signs of the journey that you're going through. So like I write, all my stories had pain in them. If I were a painter, I'm sure that my paintings would have had some pain in them. And then your finances. Aside from IVF people is expensive. Now in Uganda we are blessed. It's cheap in Uganda. You try and do it abroad. It's very expensive abroad. There are actually people who fly into Uganda to do it here because it's cheaper here. So it's very expensive all over. But it's not just the IVF. It's everything that you have to do. The consultation fee, the lab tests that you have to do, the meds that you have to take, the supplements that you have to take. When I was doing those IVFs, I read up. So what all those people abroad, what the supplements they were taking, I also took them. I remember my sister Speciosa was living in the US at that time, and there was a supplement I couldn't get anywhere, but it was made in the US. So I gave her the list. She sent them to me. It cost me $600 just on supplements. And $600 today, you can blink, but at that time it was a major investment. I put in that money for supplements. They were mine and they were his. I was taking mine, but I had to monitor that he's also taking his. And now this is mental health. You're so stressed. Is he taking? I say you can't force him. He's not a child that you're going to say, Mira. So in the evening when I would go back home, I would go to his supplements, open, pour them and count. 1, 2, 3. He took today. Put them back. And then when he hasn't taken, you have to gently, honey, did you take? Do you see the mental? How can you really be 100% when you're going through all that? So you actually become a difficult person to be with. But aside from being a difficult person on the outside, you're dying and shriveling on the inside. And it affects your own health, your physical health. It affects your health. It affects different other body systems. I'm sure you've seen some people will break out. They've got really bad pimples, or they lose a lot of weight. Or in my case, I gained a lot of weight. One, because I'm an emotional eater, but also because of the supplements. So that is the importance of it. But really, regardless of what you're going through, you should have a chance to live life normally. But when your mental health is not taken care of, you go for a baby shower, you cry. You go for a baptism, you cry. There's church, there's children dedication at church, you cry. A pregnancy shoot on social media, you cry.
Yeah, one of the objectives of Awareness Week is to help families that are trying to have children see a specialist. What are the guidelines, or what specifications do you think they can use just to have the specialist?
Okay, I will talk about it in detail later. It's important to get a diagnosis. You can only get a diagnosis from a doctor. So from the outset, you need to go and see a doctor.
Not a herbalist.
A doctor, please. Not even me as a fertility coach. Yes, I'm knowledgeable, but I'm not supposed to give you a diagnosis, and I'm not supposed to give you a prescription. Please go to a doctor for that. And don't go to your general doctor. Don't go to a dentist or a ped. Go to a gyne. Go to a gyne. And if you really feel that you have serious fertility concerns, go to a fertility specialist. There's a difference between a gyne and OB and a fertility specialist. How do you know that you really need a fertility specialist? You've been trying for more than 1.5 years. And if you're above 40, you've been trying for more than 6 months. Then go and see a fertility specialist. Who should you see? See a specialist. There are first-line treatments they will do. They will try to establish whether your hormones are in balance. They will do a hormonal balance check. That's a blood test. Some of those blood tests are at specific days of the month. And that's the thing about infertility. Everything is for wait. You can go and you've just passed the day by 2 days. You have to wait till next month. Yeah. So they'll also do a check for a hormone that measures whether you have the level of your eggs, how many you have, because a woman is born with her eggs, and she just goes finishing them. So that hormone shows you how much you have left. Then they'll also do the tube check to see that, okay, if she's fine, can the sperm go through? The tube check, like I told you in the before, is painful. For some women, very few, it's not painful. They might find a blockage. It can be a serious blockage, a knot, or just a kink. Some of them can be corrected without surgery. Some, they'll just tell you your tube is not much good. Therefore, you're depending on only one tube. You know, we have 2 tubes, yeah? So they'll tell you depending on one tube. And then this month, the egg is going where the tube is spoiled. So you have to wait the other month. Yeah, and then the other test that they will ask to do is a sperm check. Guys don't like. It's a hard one. Yeah, guys don't want to do that.
Most men don't. I don't know how many. I'm yet to hear someone who willingly went for.
There are some guys who do go for sperm tests, and what I've discovered in my work is that guys go for the sperm test alone.
Yeah.
And they never tell wifey unless the results were good. And then they say, oh, by the way, I went.
Yeah.
Sounds typical.
Yes. So in looking for a specialist, those are the tests they're going to give you. They're looking for womb health. You know, they'll also do a scan to see whether you have fibroids, whether they're inside or outside, and whether you have endometriosis. Yes, but I would like our focus to be on mental health. So that's why I'm being very brief and summary on that. I would like moms to do more than wait. I would like them to thrive while they wait. I would like them to live. I would like them to be alive while they're waiting. Because sincerely, I was like bated breath. I was not breathing. You're waiting. You're always waiting for something. You're always waiting for a next period. You're waiting for a doctor. You're waiting for a result. You're not breathing. You're waiting to leave when you'll be happy. But I would like people to enjoy their life now, because you can't press rewind for the lost time. I lost 10 years. I think I'm the oldest mom of the children in my class, and I lost that time. I can't get it back. So I've crafted what I call a 10-point program. It's based on my personal experience. It's based on what I've learned in my training, but also what I've learned from the experiences of the people that I interact with. And it's so crucial, so critical. I don't want to miss anything. So you'll allow me to refer to my notes. But number one on that, I have a Christian background. And so I put God first in everything. The one time you don't, things don't work out. So what I would advise anyone who is in the wait, first talk to the guy upstairs. He created you, he made you, he's your creator, so he knows if there's anything wrong, he knows how to put it right. I was introduced to a woman of God. As much as I did doctor hopping, I also did spiritual hopping. Now, this one, I didn't seek her. She was brought to me, and she had come from Liberia, so there was a special session. I went to see her. I sat in the room. Her second sentence to me was, how many children do you have? So I said, I don't have any. She said, you have? I said, I don't have. I'm like, you're arguing with me. I know myself. I said, I don't have. She said, my sister, you have 2 children. So I thought, okay, she wants me to have faith. So I just tilted my head like this, and she said, don't you hear them crying? Someone done something bad to you. Don't you hear your children crying? They cannot reach you. I'm like, Woman, don't take
Don't play
me.
with me.
Nze sigenda yeyo. Number one, people dream about their babies.
Yeah.
I had dreams about babies. I did dream that I had a baby, and months later I went to see someone and they were carrying the same baby that I had dreamt about. She had black lips and she was very brown. But I could not hear my baby crying. I didn't have that thing that she was implying. So she says, you need special session. I'm like,
Who is this now?
so she says, we need to arrange for it. And yes, let me be very brief. It was arranged for, because I'm like, let me go with the flow. It was arranged for. And when I went for that special session, she said, number one, I don't want you to think about who did something bad to you. Don't try to figure it out. Don't try to guess who it was. Secondly, don't try to think of what bad thing they did to you. Of course, my mind had already gone. There's a time they told me that somebody buried things in the Lusuku. You should bring pastors to pray for you. Of course, I rubbished them. I told them, I don't do those things. So now my mind had gone there. And here she is now telling me, yes, those things are there, but don't think about it. Let's focus on God. So she said, now what you're going to do is you're going to forgive. Forgive all and everyone who has ever done anything to hurt you or to give you any unhappiness. Number one who I had to forgive was this unknown person who had done an unknown thing to me that was keeping away those babies that I didn't know about. That's the number one person I had to forgive. It was easy because I didn't believe it anyway.
Oh, that too.
But I also had to forgive anyone who had caused me pain. And on a 10-year infertility journey, my dear, there are many people who have stepped on you. There are many people who have innocently made a comment that has hurt you. Someone who says, oh, kampiseko buyisi. And I'm like, really? Kampiseko buyisi? Zendi wanontega? So there are many people who have hurt you along the way. I had to forgive all those. But I also had to ask God to forgive me for how our relationship was with God. I was angry. I told you IVF 4, I was angry. So having done the forgiving, I could now go to God and ask him to forgive me. Number one, let him forgive. I asked him to forgive me for hating those people, being angry for them, being a porcupine, and now also forgive me for being angry with you, because I was, at certain points I was so angry with God. He's the one who gives children. He's not giving me. He's giving someone who doesn't even want. He made someone pregnant who actually had the guts to come to me and ask for money for abortion. Really? Yes, it happened. Of course, I've had to cut these things short. I didn't tell you that thing. Yeah, it hit me really bad. But he gave her a baby. She didn't want it, and then he didn't give me. What, are you really God? Then I had this thing that God is punishing me. And I had prayer and fasting to ask him to forgive me for what he's punishing me for. And anyway, what was it that he's punishing me for? And anyway, you God, what bad thing have I done that you cannot forgive me for?
That you deny me.
What is it that he cannot forgive me for? And then I got to the point where I was like, Lekayo. Lekayo. Yeah.
Keep them.
Keep your children.
So now in the forgiving thing, I was now, God, forgive me.
For that
Forgive me for that tantrum that I did with you. Let's start again. And then the next session I went to her, it was, you've forgiven, you've been forgiven. Now boldly approach the throne of grace and ask. Matthew 7:7. Ask,
Seek,
and ye shall receive. You shall receive. Seek and ye shall find. And I asked boldly. And around that time I ended up in Phaneroo, and in Phaneroo they ask boldly. And I learned in Phaneroo that every answer is yea and amen. So I stopped asking, I started thanking. And anyway, my husband used to always say, hey, Fetwebaza. He was not in reference to my fertility, but he didn't know he was egging me on. So I was no longer asking, I was now thanking. And that is the mind that I went with That's number one, spiritual cleansing. I was so focused that the baby is going to come that, like she was telling you, I named the baby. I named my baby Isaac. I needed to have a boy, one boy, and he would be named Isaac. I needed a boy because I didn't want to do it again. I needed to give the musika and I'm done. But you know, God has his own plans. I never got the boy. I got two girls. And each time I look at them, I'm like, man, I survived boys. I have this baby of mine. My goodness, she can pull stunts. And I'm like, I'm glad you're a girl. So number one is the spiritual cleansing. So once you're done with the spiritual cleansing, now go to the medical part of it. That's number two, which she was talking about. Get a diagnosis. You cannot imagine, there are many people who are listening to me now who've been in marriage even 5, 6, 7 years and they've never seen a doctor.
Over that issue.
The man has not and the woman has not. They're waiting on God, or they are doing kadomola, Herbal, or they are doing many things, or they're saying bandoga. And they've never gone to see a doctor. Why is it important for you to get a diagnosis? One, how will you treat what you don't know? That's number one. Number two, one size does not fit all. You hear that, oh, so-and-so has done this, it worked for them, you run, you want to do the same thing. True. And unfortunately, in Uganda, our pharmacies are not very strict. You can get serious medication without prescription. So I do have someone who called me and said, oh, I've heard you can help. There's a certain drug which can help me have twins. I already have 3 children, but now I want twins. Can I have that drug? And I'm like, hello, that is a hormone altering drug. It can mess you up so badly. That drug is called Clomid. People take it, Clomid or letrozole. People take it like they're taking aspirin, like they're chewing vitamin C. But they are trying to get twins so that they can also be called a Nalongo. It's nice to be Nalongo. It is. But really, you're taking a drug without supervision. You're messing yourself up so badly. So one size does not fit all. Number 3, it takes 2 to tango. What's good for the goose is not good for the gander. You cannot just you, the lady, go and get a diagnosis without the guy getting a diagnosis. We're talking about guys going secretly and doing the tests on their own. Let me tell you another way that guys do the test. They do it very practically. They go and get another girl pregnant.
Yes.
Wow. Yes. So, clinically, they cannot make their wife pregnant. Clinically, your sperm cannot make your wife pregnant. But miraculously, you can make your girlfriend pregnant. It's not scientific. How do you know it's yours? But this guy has gone through enough stress.
How do you know?
That's your.
Imagine if it comes out it's his. After everything you just say, you're in that place and someone
mental issues.
No, there's a friend getting pregnant. But your partner,
and it's happened.
You're supposed to walk this journey with.
He goes get someone pregnant.
And those kids always look like
him. So why they do this is the pressure. There is a lot of pressure. I told you that infertility starts out as failure. It also starts out as failure on the man. You, the woman, you're not a real woman. But the man, he's not man enough. If he cannot have a child. So he's under pressure. Even his friends will tell him, yes. And so he'll go ahead and do his fertility test like that. So the other thing why it's important to get a diagnosis is you cannot test your fertility by proxy. Yeah, I used to test my fertility by proxy. So I told you I was a Chogam bride. I got married in December. The following week in the church, my husband's church, there was another wedding the following week. And then like 3 months before there had been a wedding, and another 4 or 5 months after us there was a wedding. So those were my people that I was measuring against. If she gets pregnant, I'll be in trouble. So the people who had got married first eventually got pregnant, and I was like, okay, now I really have to do something. Then the people who got pregnant, who got married a week after me, no sign. Do you know going to church and you sit and you're watching people's waistlines? Wow. And this is a church where married women wear busuti. And you know you can disguise pregnancy in busuti. All you're doing is watching people's waistlines. So the couple after me were not getting pregnant, and it comforted me. What I didn't know is that these guys already had children. What they were doing was kutukuza bufumbo. I didn't know them before. So they were not on my agenda, not at all. So the other couple that got married, they got married the following July. Now I started watching those ones like a hawk. And the lady had, she was endowed. She had an endowed figure. So I was constantly doing guesswork, and I was not close enough to ask her, "Are you pregnant?" Eventually she got pregnant. I said, now I'm finished. That's how one of the ways I was doing my fertility testing. Don't test yourself by proxy. That Oliafunye, Tanafuna, I'm okay. If she's not yet, I'm okay, we are together. No, don't test yourself by proxy. Go and get a diagnosis. So then, number 3, you've cleansed yourself spiritually, you've got a diagnosis, you know what's wrong. Take action. People go and the doctor tells them your tubes are blocked. Then they don't take action. They go back to Kadomola, they go back to Loachinze. Take action. When you don't take action, you have something pending. And something pending is something on your shoulder, on your shoulder all the time, giving you unnecessary stress. But if you're able to deal with one item at a time and tick that's done, that's less stress. It also gives you a sense of achievement that you've managed to do something. Now, I'm not saying go and do humongous, gigantic things. It can be as simple as make an appointment to see a doctor. Have that list of things that you have to do, but take action that is taking you towards your end goal. Move in that direction. So there we are being practical. I call those success steps. Then I want to keep the order, so I have to refer. Forgive me for this. Yes, so number 4. Number 4 is educate yourself. Educate yourself. I did mine on Google. And the Google of those days is not the Google of now. The Google of now is enriched. There's so much information. And by the way, it's not just Google. These days, even TikTok. Go and type in TikTok infertility. My goodness, you will find so much. I have back issues. I get my physiotherapy exercises from TikTok. If we had been that informed at that time, I think my journey would have been less. But educate yourself. Why is it important to educate yourself? So that when you go to talk to your doctor, you are having a discussion. He's not just throwing things at you. He's not giving you a one-size-fits-all, just go and do that. No, go and have a discussion when you're educated about what it is. If your issue is endometriosis, you know what it is. So that also you're not so scared about it and what. The other reason why you must educate yourself is because there's a thing called information overload. Until we are in the digital era. I am also going to be on Zoom. I'm going to bring a doctor who is going to talk and talk and talk. You're going to watch this show. You're going to hear what I'm saying. Then you have so much information. You're bombarded with information. But if you're educated, you can kusengeja. You can know, this is applicable, this is not applicable. I'm not running with that. I'm firm. The other reason why you must educate yourself is they are buffere. There used to be a show, Trickster. I wanted to write into Trickster and take them to do something on some herbalist. That guy was a mufere. I'm going to spend some time on this because I have to tell you. First of all, you have to spend the night if you're going to see him. He had built like some buzigos. It was like a hostel. But the buzigos are run by his wives. So it was their income. They charge you for the night. Wives. Yes, he had 2 wives officially helping him. So you have to spend the night, pay for the hostel. That's revenue stream for wife 1. I bypassed that because we paid someone to spend the night for us. So we still paid the hostel fee, but didn't spend the night there. That's number 12. What's happening? Actually, what happened is we paid...
find ways around it.
We paid the overnight fee and didn't use that overnight, but somebody else used it, so they got double. So we enter at VIP level because we have earned them extra income. Then you get into this queue. We left our home at 5 a.m.
You went with your husband?
Yes.
He allowed?
It was initiated by someone from his side. And he allowed. You know, the interesting thing is that he would give in to the silly things.
Yeah.
He allowed.
Yes.
It was a lady.
It was a lady, but from his side.
But from his side. So we get there at 5 a.m. Everyone is shrouded. It's cold. You can't see people because of the mist. Slowly it brightens up. Then you see just how many cars are there. All of them covered in mist, meaning they spent the night. Then it's like a crawl system. First you're sitting on Kabalaza. You move from Kabalaza to Kasenge. Then you move from Kasenge to Ina Kasenge. Moving in batches. Next. So when we enter, it's my husband and I, and this man is old. He has something which I believe was the end of a stethoscope. It was shaped like that, but without the and he was holding it like this. And then you're going to be my guinea pig.
Okay.
He'll do like this.
You people, what is it?
Like if I've ever looked for a baby.
Hey!
Even now.
That's the guy who told me that
So that was his scan.
yeah, but it was like a small thing. And my husband was curious. He started asking him questions, getting him to reveal. So the guy said, I'm a doctor, but I don't work anymore. I have special medicine. It's from Nairobi only. He had some jars on like a console there. And when it was time to go, he measured off our drugs. Medicine, a Herbal, they are tablet. Yes, but those tablets have bokwakulizo, terms and conditions. Mine, I remember clearly, I needed to take 3 of them, the last thing before I go to bed. Once I've taken them, I need to take them with 2 glasses of water. I must not do anything after taking them, and I must not talk to anyone after taking them. So I'd be like, Mo, I'm going down to take my medicine. No talking after this. It's okay to sabe, because no talking after this. And the bukwakulizo thing was weird. Because if you give me those bukwakulizo on Herbal, but now you're giving me a tablet. So as I would take these tablets, I would look at them and say, but this tablet looks familiar. This tablet looks like folic acid. Any woman who's trying to have a baby should take folic acid.
Wow.
I had folic acid. I get them out.
Did you taste this?
This is for you. Let me have faith in this guy. So we take our folic acid 3 tablets before bed and 3 tablets on rising. Again, before talking to anyone, before taking anything.
The talking part is really funny.
So it meant that in a 24-hour period, I'm taking 6 tablets of folic acid. That's an overdose. That's an overdose. There is one school of thought, and I have to be careful about whether I really should say this because I don't want to encourage people to do this. But there is one school of thought that a high dose of folic acid can result in twins. And this guy, you know why there's so many people there? He has a success rate. Some people are there for baby number 2. He has a high success rate. I mean, by the time you're giving me such a high dose of folic acid, maybe it's going to help. Now, hubby had his own tablet. That's what was encouraging, that we're not being given the same thing. He had his own tablet. So when we go for round 2, I get again my same tablet, they change his tablet. After that, I drive off to work, hubby drives off to work, and then he rings me. And he says, Omani, Batufeze. So what do you mean? I thought it was a money, maybe we've been robbed or something. He said, Guy, I'm part of vitamin C. You guys know about that guy. So So that evening we did an analysis, and Happy being Happy, he had not taken all his medicine of the first round. The first round he had been given B complex.
What?
So here we were waking up at 5 a.m. to begin
To not even talk to each other.
to be given B complex and vitamin C. But it does have a point, because it was for our, you know, supplements. That's what they were.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so that's why you must. Okay, so let's move on. Number 5 will be lifestyle change. That's plain simple. Lifestyle change, work on your nutrition, do exercise, water. I can't overemphasize water, sunshine. Let me say a little bit. 2014, after we cut the cycle short, it's confirmed we're going to live a life childless, child-free. I saw my mom look after my grandmother. I know that I will look after my mother. So who's going to look after me if I don't have a child? So I would sit and look at my nieces.
You were starting to book.
I started looking for traits of kindness. Who's going to be kind enough to me?
Look after you.
And then I thought to myself, is it fair for me to burden them with that? And it was really depressing knowing that I didn't have someone to look after me in my old age. So I thought, let me make sure that I have a good old age. I must be mobile, I must be healthy, I must be able to take care of myself, which means let me save money, but also let me work on my health. I started green juicing. People, I drank green juice. And I would do it at work, because I lived on Gayaza Road. I would leave home at 5 a.m., get to work. There was a fridge at work. I have my skuma, my spinach, put in the juicer, wash up, and have my chiboto to drink throughout the day. It's probably one of the things that contributed to the success of the fifth of round 5. It's probably one of the things. But because I felt that I need to take care of myself in old age, let me start now. So do a lifestyle change. Who knows, it might fix the things that are going on now. Exercise, water, and having a passion. Have something that keeps you engaged, so that you're less likely to slip into depression. And be positive, visualize about these things. I told you I named my child Isaac. I didn't just name him Isaac, I shopped for him. IVF number 5, I was coming from injection. It was a Sunday, 4 p.m. I had forgotten about the injection. IVF number 5 was a little bit careless. I would forget injection time. But the previous ones, I'd be there on the door. So I go for my evening injection, and then it was 4 p.m. At Bukoto, heading back to Gayaza. I'm like, let me go to Capital Shoppers just to window shop. There was a children's shop there. And I used to fear entering children's shops. I felt like it's a club and I'm not allowed to enter. I would actually just stand outside the window
Look at the pretty
and
things
look at the pretty things. This time I'm like, by faith I'm entering. I entered, I asked prices, I wrote things down. Then I'm like, why am I asking prices? I checked my bag. I have cash. I shopped. 250k down. I bought towels, which we are still using to this day.
Really?
Wow. I bought towels, I bought
Reminded me of a memory recently.
I bought onesies.
Someone shared with me and said, Rosette called Rachel and said, are we out tonight? Rachel responded, I had a baby yesterday, I can't. And then Rosette replied and said, oh, so that baby you've known for 1 day? Over me, that you've known for 20 years?
So you need that kind of friend. And then the 4th friend is the tough love friend. Not so much tough love, but she's walking the journey with you. She's walking the journey with you. Or to say, well, can we move ahead? I had 2 such friends. One was the doctor's wife. That one micromanaged me. Should be Pat to say, well, Wagenze. And when I got pregnant, this is one lady who really checked on me every day. She even named the twins. They carry the names that she gave them, Chirabo and Chitiwa. But also my sister, the sister I follow, Nina. She wasn't tough, but she was realistic. So she would ask me, wahisiahi. Now, if my sister and I speak Ruchiga, it's a joke because we grew up speaking English and Luganda. Yeah. So I say, on what? The baby thing. I say, I've chilled those things. I'm just giving it I'm giving it a break. Yeah. Oh, you're giving it a break. Until when? Let's give it a year.
We'll see.
And then she says, you know, next year you'll be a year older.
Very good. Very good.
And it will be a little harder.
Yeah.
So don't you think we need to work on it? Yeah. 2 days later, so did you go and see the doctor? What did he say? She wasn't hard on me like with a whip, but she was like accountability to make sure that I kept going. So that's your inner circle of strength, the one you can vent to. By the way, I could not vent to my sister. First of all, she wouldn't understand. Second of all, she would say take action. But you need someone you're just going to go and have a sorrow pity party with. You need your spiritual partner. Then you need your Njagala vibe and you need your accountability partner. No one is coming to help you. You got to help yourself first. Emotional self-care. Come up with a daily strategy. First thing in the morning, do what, when I teach you what is called conscious intending. In the morning, wake up and consciously, you're like, today I intend for this to be. Then conscious character. Today, I'm going to be the Pumla who ABC. I'm going to be the Rachel who does ABC. So you describe the kind of person you want to be. Then daily gratitude. Gratitude is an amazing thing. It's just that this thing is going to be 3 hours if I go into gratitude. So I won't go into gratitude, but gratitude is an amazing thing. The 1 year that I deliberately practiced gratitude is the year that horrible things happened to me. I was kuferred 70 million. My baby got burnt. Bad things happened to me. But I didn't notice because I was so focused on the good things that were happening. So when you do that, it uplifts yourself emotionally. That's the emotional self-care that I'm talking about. And then you have the daily dump. I learned that from you. Daily dump. You just write down those things which are bothering your head. Write them on a paper. When they are on a paper, they become a thing to add on your success step. If you don't pour them out on paper, they remain here chattering, giving you stress. But when you put them on paper, they can become something you can take action on. The next thing is to crumple that paper and throw it away. For me, sometimes I don't. For me, I take that as a to-do list. In addition to the daily dump, then you do the dance. The vibe thing. Do a daily dance. When you dress up in the mirror before you leave, when you're like, am I smart? Do a kajigo. Just do a kajigo for yourself. I'm not a good dancer, but I do.
My kids are always like, Mommy, you love dancing. I'm like, yes, I do.
Doesn't it make you feel nice?
It
makes you feel good. Then the other one is a daily laugh. And people, I tell you, laughter truly is the best medicine. Even when you're doing IVF, you're advised during the 2-week wait, when implantation is supposed to be going on, you need to be laughing. You need to be laughing. So I subscribe to this guy, what's his name? This guy with a mustache, Steve Harvey. And I wanted to feel bad. I wanted to be pregnant, and if feeling bad came with it, then by all means give that to me. So when you accept, you can take things better. When you accept that you don't have children and your mother-in-law says something or your sister-in-law says something, you take it from a position of strength rather than from when you're in denial that no, it's more painful.
And offensive.
You take control. You don't allow words to have power over you when you're at a point of
Virtual high five, my sister.
Me too. Thank you.
You take the power. The power will always be in your hands for as long as you accept your situation. Nobody can take it.
So this training that I do, you get to a position of accepting and empowering yourself emotionally, understanding these emotions. What are they telling me? When I'm angry, what is it really? I'm angry because someone is being unfair to me. When I'm feeling guilty, what is it really? I'm feeling guilty because I think I'm being unfair to someone. There's a message behind that emotion. So in the training that I do, you get to, it's a self-discovery thing. You're equipped with tactics and things to be able to respond to life. So finally, number 10 Number 10 is ask for help. Women were made strong. Men have the brute strength, but women have resilience. When men fail, women kick in, and they don't ask for help. They don't ask for help. Well, with infertility, there is the shame issue, so you don't talk about it, especially for men. Guys, please, when you have this issue, ask for help. Ask for it privately. I think what happens in bars is that people tease them or what, but please be nice to your friend.
They do.
They do, yeah.
They even tease them. You even have just girls there. 1 year, who is going to take on you?
You know what?
Just throw those jobs around.
Somebody made a comment. A guy made a comment to me, and said, "Bigani, should we add more men on the job?" He said that to me, but I imagine those are the kind of jokes that men throw at each other. And it was out of taste. That joke was totally out of taste. But you should ask for help. Ask for professional help. That starts with going for a diagnosis. Go to a doctor, go and talk to a doctor. Go to a counselor. Come to me, a fertility coach. Get professional help. The other one is talk to your spouse. Talk to your spouse and ask him for help. Sometimes it's a money issue. The guy is just not on the same page, and that causes really big antagonism on this infertility or fertility journey. Man and wife are rarely on the same page, rarely on the same page, and it causes a lot of stress. Also, seek advice from people, your peers who have gone through it, or your peers who have children. Seek advice. What can I do? How can I go through? What is the next step that I should take? And this is a tricky one, because someone did come to me, and I'm going to tell you this story because I must get it off. Financially, you can need help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. I know someone who was going through this issue. She was years ahead of me in that issue. I think she went through about 6 or 7 years, but she was ahead of me. And she's coming at that stage in my life where I'm like, I'm waiting on the Lord. And I knew she had done so many IVFs, and at that time IVF in Uganda was not common. She was flying to do it in South Africa.
Oh, wow.
You can imagine what that was costing her in terms of money, in terms of time on job, because she would have to be gone for 2 weeks all the time, two weeks, 1 month, going for checkup in South Africa. Even if you have the money, it's a strain.
On your journey, I was just reminded of a story years ago when I lost my child. I met a friend who was dealing with this fertility issue, and she's like, Rosette, you're so lucky you have buried a child. I have not conceived. Like, for me, I'm worse. Like, guys, I was in a very, very vulnerable state. But I just, like, it encouraged me for a bit. I'm like, guys.
There's an English saying, it's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all.
Yes.
And when I had given up 2014, when I had closed the chapter, I remembered the miscarriage of 2009. I said, at least I tested CO.
Yes.
But there are women who have not tested CO, and they've gone over. Oh, I got to the asking help before. That means we have not done 10. There's a crucial one.
Which one?
Consider alternatives. Don't be so locked and fixated on I want a baby. Right?
Yeah.
And when you're thinking I want a baby, it is my egg, it's his sperm.
Yeah.
There are other ways around it. Be open-minded. Consider a donor.
Yeah.
Consider a donor on both sides. There can be an egg donor, there can be a sperm donor. If it's uterus issues, you can do surrogacy, and you can even adopt. By the way, we had talked about adoption with my husband, and he had said no. I used to even go and volunteer, and what I even got to the point of asking him, can we give this house we're in? Can we give, there's I'm doing some work with an adoption agency. This house we're in is too big for us. It would be good for them. Poor man suffered with me. So anyway, he was not in favor of adoption. He had some very philosophical view of it. which was that he asked me, why are you adopting? I said, those kids need parents. They need a good life. I can give them a good life. He said, you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for you. And he was so pointed. He said, when you're ready to do it for them, not for you, then we can talk.
He had a good
So
point.
in beginning of Christmas of 2015, I managed to take him to Sanyu Baby's home. And he's a kid magnet. Kids love him. So the kids were all over him. And when we left, I asked him, can we have one? He said, one what? I said, one child. No problem, let's take two. Yes! He accepted adoption. But walking to the adoption, you cannot imagine that their orphanages are overwhelmed, their kids being abandoned, but when you want to adopt one, you can't get one. The process, it's not like going to a supermarket and picking one. No. The bureaucracy. It took me 3 months to be ready. And just when we were going to submit our paperwork, we suffered a tragedy and we could not talk about it, so we shelved. Now, when we shelved it is when that bug attacked me again of let me try IVF again, and that's when I succeeded. Yeah. So this comes to don't be closed, consider alternatives. Consider alternatives, consider the alternative of a donor, whether it's for the man or for the lady. Now, part of the reason why people don't want to do a donor, they say that's not my child. But what is it you want? Look at the end. The end will justify the means. If what you want is a child, go with your husband, talk to the doctor, the two of you, and get a donor. Pumla and everybody don't have to know. It was just you, you're happy, and the doctor. When you have that baby, you know, I did psychology in first year. If you have you noticed that couples start looking alike, yet they are not related? It's because they spend a lot of time together, and they start laughing the same way, so they start getting wrinkles the same way. It's the same with that kid. Even if that embryo was not yours, that kid having lived with you will start talking like you, will start looking like you,
like
everything. They'll start saying, oh no, carbon copy, and it's only you who knows that it wasn't.
That it wasn't.
Yeah.
Ah, Patricia, my God, how do we end this show? I think let's just say bye and we walk away. We are done. Yeah. Guys, bye. Thank you so much.
Before you say bye, I'm very free with my number. So anyone who wants to talk to me, I'm available.
Yes. Oh yes, and I'm sure there's going to be many.
There are people who are secretive about their numbers, but I have two numbers, MTN and Airtel.
We'll put them in the caption.
Put them there in the caption. You can call me.
On the screen.
If I don't answer, send a WhatsApp or call again.
And you respond.
Yes.
That debt has to be paid.
Yes.
Yes, it's a banja. I have to pay this debt.
For sure.
Yeah.
We really, really appreciate you sharing your story and being vulnerable. I like the it's a 10-week program.
It's 16-week
16-week
program because you
program.
meet every other week.
Great. And it has really good modules, I think, even for normal life.
Yeah.
But since we are talking about fertility challenges, if you are out there watching and this is something that you're struggling with, this is really comprehensive. And I think that you should reach out to Patricia. Thank you once again for sharing your story with us. I think you deserve a hand clap.
So much.
Thank you. Let us know in the comment section, what are you struggling with? What resonated with you from Patricia's story? And hopefully she'll be online as well to respond to some of your comments. We will be as well. Thank you again for your comments. We do appreciate them and we see them. Now, it's a few weeks to Mother's Day. And I know that saying this might trigger some people who might be going through fertility challenges, and that's okay. Your time will come and you will have those babies, whatever the direction you choose to take. So to the moms out there, Aqua Wellness Spa is giving you an offer. There are some certificates, Mother's Day certificates that you can gift to your mom. Is it a certificate? It's a gift card, a gift voucher. Yes. You can buy one for your mom, or come over and have a mom-daughter spa day treatment courtesy of Aqua Wellness Spa. They're giving away two lucky moms or 2 lucky daughters to gift their moms. So head on over to their socials on Instagram and on Facebook. It's Aqua Wellness Spa, and gift your mom and have a special Mother's Day. It's Aqua Wellness Spa, the home of wellness.
And Rachel,
Yes.
since there are 2 gift certificates for moms, I'm giving 2 gift certificates for wannabe moms. We also need to be taken care of. We need some pampering. I will leave it to Bump Love to see who gets and who qualifies. That I'm giving them 2 as well.
I know someone. There's a fan of ours who watches the show. I remember she made a comment on one of the shows. She's been trying to have a child, and somebody made a very mean comment to her. I'm nominating her as one of the moms. You need to go back and check. Yes. But yes, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
That was very very kind of you. Very kind of you.
We need more guests like you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh my. Until next time, guys, with love from Bump Love.